Hello and welcome to the Daily Break Podcast, episode 22 for the week of May 31st, 2015. I'm your host, James Lee, and with me today is Max Lee.
Hey.
And returning champion, Taylor Kelsey.
I'm a champion, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean...
Here by the skin of my teeth of moving all day.
Right. Yeah, you're in your new place now, huh? So how you guys doing? Doing pretty well?
Tired?
Oh, I'm real tired.
It's Sunday
excited.
evening. It's Sunday
Lots of
evening,
stuff to
so...
talk about.
Yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. First of which, so we got, just going down the list, Google I.O. They had their conference this week. A lot of cool, interesting Google things there. RAM prices hit rock bottom. Actually, I'm probably going to scratch that out. I'm just informing people that RAM prices have hit rock bottom. Not completely rock bottom, but like the longest times in like lowest prices in like 26 months. So if you want to buy desktop RAM, now is a pretty good time.
Get yourself some RAM.
Twitch. Titch, no.
James forgot to do his vocal warm-ups before the pod.
I know. Twitch has banned adult-only streaming. So if you're a Twitch streamer and you want to stream adult-only video games, you cannot do that.
In other words, I'm now unemployed.
I guess that's some channels I can't watch anymore.
Hola, a popular web browser extension, is stealing your bandwidth. What's up with that? Lenovo, actually, no, we won't cover that. We won't have time. Nvidia has announced their latest and greatest graphics card, GTX 980 Ti. A little bit more on that. Some news about Cyberpunk 2077, or lack thereof, Mad Max, FIFA, and women's teams in FIFA, and I think Taylor wants to talk about Massive Chalice, so that'll be cool. All right, let's get the show on the road.
Yeah.
So first of which, we got Google I/O. There's so Google has an annual huge conference where they talk about their products that are going to be coming up in the next year or so. This year, a lot of interesting things came out. First of which is Android M, the latest version of Android. Last year they announced Android L, which was Lollipop. Android M. What kind of candies start with M? What kind of sweets start with M? So we could speculate on what version this will be called, because Google's Android naming scheme has always been on sweets. So
Macarons? Would that work?
I think so. Oh, that's actually a good one, because those are pretty popular these days, right?
Macaroon.
Macaroons? Yeah, macaroons. Android macaroon.
That's too long.
Well, I mean, the last one was Lollipop,
It works.
so...
It works.
And then there was also ice cream sandwich, and then honeycomb, things like that. So yeah, we'll call it macaroon. Pretty cool things. Just some updates, basically. One of the funnier features, or there's a funny story about one of their newer features. There's there's going to be a new Google Photos app, and it's got free online storage. You could upload up to 16 megapixel photos, up to 1080p videos, and you get unlimited storage, I think. So for your phone, which is pretty cool.
This won't affect my iPhone at all, right? This is all Android.
I mean,
video stuff.
Actually,
Google
no,
still, so
no. You could download the app for iOS. So
yeah, that's cool.
yeah. Funny thing about this, though, this story I was talking about, The Verge, as you know, the mainstream tech website, they uploaded a video reviewing the app, and it turned out they were reviewing the old version of the Google Photos app. So it's like, hey guys, it's The Verge, straight out of Google I/O. We're reviewing the new Google Photos app, and it's the old app.
Whoops.
Yeah, pretty big whoops. Ooh, this is pretty interesting. So Google also announced some of their efforts to help their products work better in developing countries. Where internet connections will be spotty, things like that. So some of these new features include Google Maps running on offline mode, or a better a lot more features from Google Maps being running offline, which I think is
work?
You download the maps beforehand and then go to where you need to go.
How much data is that?
I'm sure they compress it a lot.
Okay.
But
That'd be super useful, because I run out of data about 8 days into the month every month. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, I got screwed over by that. I'm already 2 gigs over, and
Oh my god.
I got 19 days left.
What
Oh,
what do
boy.
you use for
It's at work,
you to
right?
run out of?
Yeah, at work there's no internet,
Wow.
and I get real bored.
No, I understand
I'm
that.
like,
I understand
watching
that.
YouTube.
Yeah, especially like car rides, especially. I used to travel a lot, so like that would kill me. Hearthstone doesn't usually take that much data though, if I remember correctly.
Every dollar, every gig counts. Every
Yeah, that's
megabyte
true.
counts.
Yeah, I used to.
I'm there for a long time every weekend. I'm there for like 12 hours, so it gets there.
That's crazy. I used to count my megabytes a lot too. Now I don't because I don't really leave buildings that don't have Wi-Fi very often.
Smart.
So.
You're playing it smart. I see. I'm out here in the wild, wild west. No Wi-Fi everywhere. It's so
The
harsh.
wild Wi-Fi-less
Down
west.
here at my new house.
Oh right, yeah, that too, huh? Well, you got internet now in your house, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My dad has to work, so he's like, internet. We got the internet before. The internet was the first thing we had moved in the house. It's like it was turned on. And my dad came here and installed everything. He's like, cool.
A true 21st century household.
But we have Wi-Fi.
Your family is like a family of cable cutters, right? You guys don't really pay for cable anymore?
No, we just do the whole, Netflix, Hulu, dealio.
Yeah, I heard that.
Huh.
That's actually getting pretty popular these days because I was talking to my friend Sebastian. He also said that we cut our cable subscription. Because honestly, like, do you guys miss it at all? Because I sure don't. I haven't really
No.
watched
I mean,
it.
I don't watch that much TV anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like 100 channels, and you're probably only gonna watch 10 of them, if even that.
Yeah, it's just there's just no benefit to watching TV anymore because, I mean, other than like you get to talk about it with your coworkers the next morning, and that's about
My
it.
coworker is my mom, so it's not a...
Yeah, exactly.
We're not
And
hanging around the water cooler that often.
yeah, see, so like I don't think so. Because even like Game of Thrones will like be up for streaming the day it comes out. The day the episode comes out. So if you have an HBO Go, you don't even need to pay for regular HBO. You could just pay for HBO Go. Although I think
Yeah, the
Apple.
longest you have to wait is like a season afterwards for like
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
That's kind of annoying, but it's fine. It's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal.
It's funny because actually like a lot of my friends will be like, I just started watching Breaking Bad and it is amazing. And obviously Breaking Bad like has been on Netflix for a long time, but college students, they have a lot of time to kill, and then now they're just watching a ton of Netflix.
Procrastinate.
Yeah, basically. Speaking of procrastination, actually that was terrible. Speaking of
I have a motion. I would like to stop calling
So-
out that we're doing segues.
I think that's a good idea.
Gonna
I think it's a
I
good
think we
idea.
already
The third
talked about this
segue in.
before we started recording.
I discussed that
about-
with Max, but I'm not sure about Taylor.
I second that motion then. My
Speak-
own motion that I
but-
just made. I second that.
All right, I third that. No, you could have only fourth it. I thirded it, so
Pass.
yeah, we'll pass it. Anyways,
Speaking of passing.
well, actually, I was gonna speaking of Netflix, actually, a popular web extension used to watch Netflix, because you know how Netflix has like region restrictions, like certain countries wouldn't be able to watch certain shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
A way people would bypass this would be to use this extension called Hola. It's like a free VPN. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically it emulates an internet connection in a different area. That's basically what it is. So let's say you're in the UK and you want to watch American TV shows. You load up Hola, and then hey, it looks like you're using an American IP or whatever. Here, have access to our American shows. I remember a lot of people would use it for Battlefield 4 because things on EA's Origin service were cheaper in Mexico. So you load up Hola for Mexico, and then boom.
Really? How much cheaper?
You paid like $27 for Battlefield 4 Premium, which is opposed to $50.
What's usually 50?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So
Wish
a lot
I
of people
thought
did that.
before I paid for Battlefield 4 Premium
Premium.
and then never played the game again.
The update. I'll talk about this later, but
Wait,
the updates have been pretty good. So I if you still want to play a military shooter, that's not Counter-Strike. I
well,
recommend
no.
going back to it. Yeah. Anyways, so this is it's a pretty good extension, but unfortunately, some security researchers found, this is from the Daily Dot, found that there has been some malicious intents behind Hola. Apparently, they've been selling your bandwidth to, people, who knows who, for because by using Hola, you're giving people access to your internet connection, because that's how it would work, because you'd basically trade internet connections with people. Because there's somebody, if you're using Hola, that basically allows other people to use your IP for things. It's kind of weird. Anyways, Hola's been selling your bandwidth to potentially malicious companies. So basically, be careful, guys. If you're using Hola, stop using it as soon as you can. And the lesson of this basically is if you're going to use a VPN, you better be paying for it. I know a lot.
Use my new service called Bonjour. It's really different. Trust me. I don't hack on your computer.
I thought you were referencing the Apple thing. That's really annoying, and I've never understood what that is. I don't know what that is. I really don't. Can you?
It's annoying, and that's about it.
Max, do you know what it is? Because I don't
Wait, Apple thing?
Apple's Bonjour service.
I don't recognize the term for some reason.
Oh, I don't know, because I would go on my sister's computer because she has I think she had an iPod or something at some point, and then
Bonjour locates devices such as printers, other computers, and the services that those devices offer in local network using multicast, blah 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 blah.
So Internet
it
of
finds things for you.
Internet of Things, basically. So
Thanks,
network
Bonjour.
connected things. Okay. Anyways, so this is a good time for me to quick PSA for you guys. Basically,
We have cue the theme music. Alright, great.
Thank you. So there's a lot of good reasons to use VPNs, especially if you're traveling abroad. You definitely want to use the VPN, especially in China where internet's censored, or just in general if you feel that you need a secure internet connection, especially with all the security breaches out there these days. Basically, there's no free lunch, and if you're gonna get a VPN, you have to pay. You should pay for it. Taylor, actually, VPN has actually saved our buddy Adam in a Counter-Strike match once. I think, were you there for that?
Where everyone couldn't
lagging
move.
out? Yeah, everyone was lagging out, and then for some reason, Adam's
he was the Jesus,
VPN.
and everyone just running into walls and they couldn't do anything, and he's like, I can play, and just kind of ran around and killed everyone.
That basically won us the match.
I wonder if he's using Hola.
No, that's a different service.
Hola's a browser thing.
It's just for browsers.
Okay.
Yeah. VPNs that you pay for are very all inclusive. They hold they basically emulate your entire internet connection. It's cool. Okay, so that was Hola.
Adios,
Hola, basically. So this week, actually today, I'm actually glad that we postponed the podcast this week. We were originally going to record yesterday,
welcome.
but Taylor's internet was not cooperating, so we decided to record today. Thankfully, today, Nvidia finally lifted the NDA on their latest and greatest flagship graphics card, for consumers at least, the GTX 980 Ti. So this is a buffed up version of their 980, and it's a cut down version of their Titan X. The Titan X, of course, costs $1,000. The 980 Ti costs $650. That's basically the deal. It's pretty fast. It's only 5 to 10% slower than a Titan for a lot less. So that's a pretty good deal. But you have to realize that you also have to worry about 2 weeks from now, AMD will be announcing their flagship graphics card, which everybody has been waiting for, because
basically the same thing. Comparable.
Well, I mean, no one knows, because we'll see, because AMD's been getting beat up.
Is for cards? Like, is there always one that's better than the other, or is it kind
They
of
all
comparable?
that's always how it's been. Like the graphics card game has always been like Nvidia beats everybody for a while, and then AMD beats everybody, and then Nvidia comes out with
So it's
something.
just back and forth.
Yeah, it's back
Yeah.
and forth. However, Nvidia has been like kind of beating AMD a lot, like because of a combination of better, like good performance on their part and poor support on AMD's part. Because AMD's have had notorious driver issues with games like Project Cars, Witcher
Oh,
3, which we might talk about later. And so like that's been pushing a lot of people towards Nvidia. I mean, you were just having troubles like right now, right, Taylor, with your multiple
Oh,
monitor?
that's because I don't know what I'm doing. I wouldn't blame AMD for that. I was just
Um,
clicking on things and just screwing everything up.
Oh, okay.
Which with Project Cars though, um, isn't it like engine made heavily using the stuff from Nvidia? So
So I think this
it's
was
basically a compatibility issue with AMD, pretty
this
much.
was a I think this was cleared up, but I think what happened was the Project Cars devs called both vendors, AMD and Nvidia, over to their to talk to them about like optimizing for their graphics cards, because this is what happens for every PC release. Like that's what they just do, which is probably why a lot of people, like a lot of developers, don't like developing for PC, because you have to do this every single time you release a PC game. You have to call the AMD and Nvidia to come over and like basically help them optimize your game for them.
Mm.
And I think what happened was like Nvidia showed up and then helped them out, but then AMD did not.
Oh.
So it's an issue of AMD not really like supporting their stuff, which is kind of very very concerning, especially for AMD customers. Which is annoying because AMD is like kind of the underdog for the most part, and
Yeah, they are.
competition is good. So you don't want to eliminate that competition. Otherwise, we'll just all be running very expensive Nvidia graphics cards. So that's not good. In related news, Nvidia also announced other things to coming up with with these things, with this this graphics card release. So we have like Nvidia GameWorks for VR, I believe. So like basically optimizations for VR headsets for Nvidia graphics cards. It actually doesn't sound good, because GameWorks is Nvidia's like kind of their proprietary code for like optimizing things for Nvidia cards, and a lot of people hate that, because that basically locks out AMD for optimizing,
Yeah.
and that leads to really poor performance for AMD cards. So yeah, that's going to be happening. We'll see how that turns out, because VR is going to be is like literally around the corner. So we'll see how these vendors prepare for that. Any thoughts on GTX 980 Ti, things like that?
So is it a buffed up 980 or is it just like
It's a cut down.
weaker
It's a cut down
Titan?
Titan X. It's a cut down
It's
Titan
way
X.
different. It has 2 extra letters on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I believe a lot of the TIs, they aren't actually upgraded versions of whatever number they are. They are just downgraded versions of the next.
Right. So this is how graphics cards are basically made. The vendor AMD or Nvidia would come out with like their flagship GPU, the graphics processing unit. That's the center of all these graphics cards, and then from there they would just basically just section off, like they would just start cutting off parts of that, so you'd get less performance. And that's not because they're just trying to price gouge, but because like the way they're made, some parts just don't work because of how they're made. It's kind of weird. It's like fail rates. So like they just turn off those failed areas of the chip and then turn it into a lower end card. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so they basically cut their losses and sell it as a lower end card.
Right. Yeah. So that's that's what both Nvidia and AMD do, I believe.
Is that what
Alright.
one they're announcing is going to be?
I
guess we don't know.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
I'm
yes, we don't
sorry.
know.
I'm assuming because everything seems cyclical in the way that you've seen it 1,000 times. It's going to happen a slightly different version again.
And that's
I don't
probably what's
know-
going to happen.
I don't know that much about
Yeah.
graphics cards. Has it been like that in the past, where they're both just kind of like making a good one and then downgrading it
in the
next
case
year.
in the case of AMD, it's a little bit different because like I think they would like create like 2 or 3 tiers of like GPUs, whereas like there's the big boy one, and then they cut down a little bit, so there's like 3 versions of that, and then there's the medium one, and then they cut down that, and there's 3 versions of that, and then there's the small one, and then they cut down that, and there's 3 versions of that, as opposed to I think Nvidia does only 2 versions, so the big boy and then the little version, and then
Supersize me.
yeah, and then they cut down each of those, and then those create the different models.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to. It takes a few years of
It's a
hardware
deep
experience
hole that
to.
I've not gotten into at all.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. I think. Yeah, this is where we talk about Twitch. So I think that's the end. That's the end of our general tech news. Which was
game news.
Yeah. It was surprisingly bountiful for tech news, which I'm very happy to hear because we've been lacking on tech news recently.
We need more tech news because there's no game news because E3 is coming and everyone's being quiet.
Yeah.
True.
So, latest news: Twitch updated their policy, which basically bans the streaming of adult-only games. So this, of course, is in response to Hatred's release, which is what, this Tuesday, I believe.
Sometime this week.
I don't know. I
Okay.
feel like it's not like a direct response to something. It's just kind of
Preparing
feels
for
like
it.
they should because of Twitch doesn't want people to go to Twitch to watch porn.
Well,
That's what this feels like to me.
Twitch's policy said that like it's not all 18 plus games, only AO games that are rated AO by ESRB. So a game that's 18 plus in another country, if it's not 18 plus in the United States, it's still allowed technically.
So
Yeah,
like,
because in Australia, most games that we consider mature are like adult-only games.
Oh,
there,
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
like
Left 4
they're more
Dead.
specific. Yeah.
Left 4 Dead, GTA, I believe, other
God
things
of
like
War,
that.
probably.
Maybe. So, although AO games have like, there's actually been like, so there's the ones that you talked about, yeah, but there's also just like very violent games. So, I think the only ones I remember was Postal considered AO, or was it not?
I don't know, but Postal's definitely much gorier, much worse than Hatred. Both Postals are.
Okay, and then there's also Fugitive? No, not Fugitive.
Manhunt.
Manhunt, yes.
Yeah, Manhunt's
Yeah,
the famous one.
Yeah.
Which doesn't deserve it at all. It's
Oh,
really
really?
dumb.
Oh, okay. I don't
really
remember.
dumb. It's just
Oh.
like violence in a time where the media hated video games and violence.
Oh, I see. So it's like
But-
it's
but
just
the
in the
violence-
context of the time. I see.
But the violence is still like more unnerving than Hatred's is. Like Hatred, it's all been done in rated M games before. There's nothing really new about it.
Yeah. So So I guess we'll talk. This is a good time to talk about like AO games and Hatred specifically. So, Max, you apparently heard a little bit about Hatred, more than I have apparently.
A lot of the info just came from Total Biscuit's WTF impressions video. So Hatred gameplay, your typical twin stick shooter like Robotron or no, not Robotron, something I forgot what it was called, and
There's infinite twin stick shooters
yeah, and
compared to.
and let's see, graphically black and white, except some posters are in color. Police sirens red and blue, and blood is all in red, of course, so that it would look.
It stands
bloody.
out, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see the controversy. You
It's just-
are a psychopath, running around in suburbs, shooting down hundreds of innocent civilians and cops. And you are also given the option to execute anyone who's wounded but not dead. So, like, shooting them in the head or snapping their neck. The typical,
Fatalities, basically.
except nowhere near as gory as the fatalities in Mortal Kombat.
That's
It's
even-
basically just shoot them in the head. That's it.
That's crazier too, because like I thought because I'm usually not one to like blink over violence, but like the latest Mortal Kombat's like fatalities, I was like, wow, I'm actually somewhat uncomfortable, but
Oh, it's so cartoony, dude. It doesn't even look real at all. It's just like insane.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't even look real enough to be. Ooh, oh god, crazy.
Right,
You know?
but well, like the way they portray is like, well, that's like the way they're more creative with how they portray it. I guess
That's how they make their money.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so.
Like Call of Duty World at War has gorier gore than Hatred.
That's
In fact, I'm guessing the AO rating, if it actually has an AO rating, probably comes from the context of
yeah. I
shooting
think
up
context is
suburb.
important with that because like what I think Hatred's like basically just a serial killer simulator as opposed to like
Yeah.
there's no real motive behind it. It's just like, hey, you're just some crazy dude. You go ahead and
Every video game is a serial killer simulator.
well, I
Every
mean,
single player shooter, you kill 100 people.
like, but at least there's like some like some suspense. Like Counter Strike, you're like, oh, I'm trying to protect this missile silo from being bombed, or in GTA there's some story plot involved, or in war games at least, hey, I'm in this army, I have to do this. But like
The one that always gets me is Nathan Drake. He's like, I'm gonna go treasure hunting. I'm gonna be so happy and like make jokes all the time. Also, I've killed 200 people in the last 2 hours.
doesn't I played Spec Ops.
Worry about that.
Have you guys played Spec Ops: The Line?
No,
At
but
all?
I know about it.
I know a lot about it.
Okay, I played it, and like, yeah, it basically addresses this basically, like the violence in video games is like no one really even blinks at it, and then they look at it as like, hey, by the way, you just killed a ton of people.
But like,
Just remember that.
what Total Biscuit said in his video, and also his video about violence in video games, is that with Hatred, the thing is, even with its context, it can't really make you care because, like with Spec Ops and such, it could make you care about the atrocities you do, or like some other games like Mass Effect or such, when you kill off an enemy character. It's because the characters
Are developed.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're developed. They give enough time for the character to register as a person in your mind. But with Hatred, they're just targets. They're just models that look like people, but they're not given enough time
I
to
feel like we're
actually
giving
seem
this
like
game
people.
too much credit. This game was made to make controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Its advertisement, its first commercial, was made to look more, awful than it actually is.
Like it's just like it's kind of like a proof of concept. It's like, hey, we made an AO game. Look how edgy we are, guys. It's
In an era that it's like
so
what's edgy anymore.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I've been on the internet too long. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Speaking of which,
So
the
cynical.
main character's voice acting in the game, it's like edgy,
Is it gravelly?
emo, like,
Oh.
it's like like
I'm gonna kill these people.
It's like the only thing I hate more than politics is politicians and the sheep that follow them.
That's pretty edgy, man. Don't cut
That
yourself on
sounds
that
like the
edge.
Kong Fury protagonist, like dead on.
Hey, speaking of Kung Fury, it was released this week, and you have some thoughts on it. I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to see it, and maybe next week I'll talk about it.
Until other people see it. I don't want to just yell at you my thoughts unless it's like half an
Okay.
hour. We can wait until you guys see it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Then I guess we'll have to skip Mad Max, right?
Yeah, the movie. I want to talk about the game.
Oh, the game. Okay, yeah, that's coming
That's what I
out.
want to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Go.
well, it's release date September 1st, and they showed a lot of gameplay at the E3 judges, the pre-E3 judges panel thing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know what that is?
I can imagine.
It's basically like heads of different games media go to LA and play a select group of games before E3, and they can't talk about it usually.
And yeah,
But
okay.
they were allowed to talk about some details about Mad Max, and I love the movie, so I got kind of interested in this. And Polygon had a write-up of what they did and some basic info in the game. And the developers say it's gonna be about 60% driving, 40% on foot, which sounds good to me. Of like, because I'm getting tired of open world games where the driving is just a vehicle. Like, sorry to say, a vehicle to get to a different place and it's not actually useful.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
like, this game is gonna be car combat. which sounds
Oh
great.
right, yeah.
The car combat, like in the movie, and it was really good in the movie of kind of just like spikes on your car, and they really talk about the makeshift weapons, like in the movie, and the cars can be really customizable to fit whatever kind of style you want. They really emphasize that according to the Polygon. And it's going to be dynamic weather effects that change the landscape like a sandstorm, so then the sand, like the hills are going to be different places, kind of like weird stuff like that. And like it all sounds really good to me, but then Jeff Gersman from Giant Bomb played it, and the Polygon thing didn't really say if it was good or not. They just said here are facts. And then Jeff Gersman played it, and he's like, there's so much going on, it's hard for you to do everything at once. Like, there's driving and shooting and, like, Batman combat. So it's really hard to try and drive and shoot and then get out. Like, your hands, you don't have enough fingers on the controller to do everything at once, and they're not long enough. He just said it was, like, really clunky at the controls.
I see.
But
I guess it
they
needs
do
more
have
polish.
time,
Yeah.
but,
Well,
like,
I hope they do. Yeah.
Also, he hadn't seen the movie yet, so...
I see.
So...
Yeah, I was gonna say because like
maybe
that's what the movie
invalid.
that's what the movie is. There's just so much stuff going on, and then you have to keep track of it all.
The movie wasn't clunky, how dare you.
Oh well, other than the clunkiness, yeah. But like,
Yeah,
there's like
so-
so much stuff there. Yeah.
I'm excited for that game. We'll see how it actually turns out. It's made by people that are doing Just Cause.
Oh, that's
Oh.
cool. That actually sounds really really good then.
So yes, and it's also a Warner Brothers game, so of course it's gonna have Batman combat,
Oh
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Like, it became the
and it's gonna have
standard.
400 pre-ordered SKUs.
Oh jeez. Yeah. It reminds me this game reminds me of what like Borderlands was gonna be until they stopped taking themselves seriously.
I mean,
'Cause-
it worked.
Because
It
remember,
worked.
did you guys ever see like preliminary images of what Borderlands was like before they added all the cell shading and all the
Before they made it
cartoony?
interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Like that's basically what it was. It was like basically like what this game is gonna be, except Mad Max seems to have added more stuff to it. Like the vehicle, like in Borderlands and Borderlands 2, I really wish there was a lot more vehicle combat. And I believe one of the DLCs in the first Borderlands addressed that, and I think even the second one. But like, I kind of wish that the combat was a little bit more intense in terms of vehicular combat. But so I hope that this game improves on that.
This
Can I
kinda-
address something?
Mhm.
Go for it.
From what I've read, Borderlands does not have actual cell shading. It's just a filter that puts thick black outlines, but it's not true cell shading. Apparently, the actual shading engine is a regular game engine shading, just with black outlines.
Oh, thanks. That was actually pretty interesting.
And I want to compare this game to Rage. If you guys know that,
I do.
It's software game.
Yeah.
where it was post-apocalyptic desert wasteland, except for that one didn't really have much car combat. It was just kind of like I said, it was just car
vehicle.
drive to first-person shooter level, and then
Yeah.
just do that over and over again.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
gonna be that with interesting car stuff, which I think it should be good.
Yeah. Hopefully vehicular combat is good. We'll see how it turns
Yeah,
out.
it's kind of weird in an era that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like the Twisted Metal game was kind of like just fart noise to most people. It's just like, okay,
that happened.
Well,
that game
Okay.
came out, and then
A
didn't
Carmageddon
make
game
an
came out
impact.
recently.
Carmageddon?
Oh yeah, that game's bad.
Yeah, I heard Carmageddon's pretty bad.
That game's
Yeah.
just not
It
good.
apparently runs really horribly. Like,
Yeah.
if you have a 980, 35 FPS, and doesn't matter if you put it all on low, it's going to run awful regardless across the board.
Ugh.
And the cars handle badly. The
Ah,
cardinal sin of a car game.
Yeah.
Hopefully the car combat will be all the rage.
Oh.
Alright.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Max has gone mad. Okay. Sorry. I apologize. I actually apologize for that one.
Sincerely. Expect a card in the mail, a formal apology.
I'll have to post a YouTube video, just me apologizing.
God.
So,
Crying.
Taylor, you want to talk about FIFA? There's been some
Oh, yeah.
developments in FIFA.
Okay, other than the crazy corruption stuff, this is
Oh right, the other FIFA, the game.
Talk about the good part of FIFA, where they're adding female teams into the game finally.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
interesting.
going to correspond with the
Women's
Women's
FIFA.
World Cup.
Okay.
Um, which it's like a long time coming because FIFA has it's something like 100 teams in it. It's insane, and like half of them are garbage. Like Miss Nancy's third grade class, who's, like playing positions. They're just like a group of people that run around chasing the ball.
Yeah.
Like they're in the game, but there's no woman in it.
Well,
Like,
I mean, about like the tiny teams that no one cares about. Like I know, one of the reasons why this game is so popular, especially in the UK, is because it allows
attention to detail.
No, because like then like you could basically play as your favorite like local team basically, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it just seems like a next natural expansion for them to
to add
do
women.
this finally. And they're showing Ubisoft that women aren't hard to animate.
That sounds
Timely
familiar.
reference.
Yeah.
That sounds very familiar. I can't remember
What
where
wa-
the reference.
That was the Assassin's Creed 4. They said that women are hard to animate.
Yeah.
Uh,
And especially in FIFA where like you have so many animations going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't play FIFA. I've played a little bit before, and it seems pretty fun, but I don't know. It's generally not my thing. I don't play sports games usually.
Oh, I don't either. I'm just applauding
Yeah.
inclusivity.
Yeah,
That's
that
all.
I think
Actually,
that's
I just wanna
I think that's
Say
good.
hooray! Good
Hooray
for you.
for that. Yeah.
More sports games. Look at this.
Yeah. Sports games. Do the thing, win the
Yeah,
points.
Not that I like sports games, but
I can't. I'm trying to figure out what was like a sports game I actually enjoyed. And I'm like,
I like the really stupid, silly ones like Slugfest, MLB Slugfest. I love backyard basketball stuff that like it's not real at all.
oh, like
It's just like very arcadey style games.
like the Super Mario.
Slugfest, the favorite thing is like you literally just punch people all the time. If you go on first base and the first baseman catches it and you're safe, you can just punch him enough where he drops the ball and then you can run to second.
what about like the
That was
EA
a good
Street
hit for
Sport
10-year-old
games?
me.
The EA Street
The
Sports.
EA Streets.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
NFL Street and.
I played a
stuff
little
like
bit of that, but you can't punch people, so you can steal second base in that game.
True, but you could run on walls.
Yeah, I was kind of gimmicky. It's like, oh look, I ran on the wall again.
Yeah.
I did it.
Not much.
And then there's the NBA Street game was like GameCube one. Whatever I played the hell out of that one too. There's no punching people in it, but it's just crazy, stupid basketball stuff.
I think it's time that the industry goes full meta and creates esports simulator 2015.
I'm sure someone is working on that in their basement right now.
Yeah, like you have to manage your company's Twitch streams. You know,
Well,
your
that's what, like,
players getting into
fantasy esports
fights.
is, isn't it?
Hmm?
Oh god, interesting.
What?
I don't know. Like that level of simulation would be interesting.
Yeah, like you know, your players would get into controversies. They like they would tweet something out of context, and then you'd have to apologize for it.
I don't want to do virtual PR for fake people.
Try not to, and you have to like get away with trying to make much money as possible without your players like complaining about you're not paying them.
Oh god.
Go to tournaments.
Why hasn't that been made yet?
I know exactly. This will be a what's it called? This will be part of our Kickstarter.
This idea, so no one can do this.
Yeah, basically. Honestly,
If we mail an audio recording of this podcast to ourselves, then we have legal right to that idea.
Yep. You heard it here first,
That
boys. I guarantee there's going to be an esports simulator in the next year. Whether or not we're getting royalties for it,
is that a bet?
Do you want an actual money on that?
I'll bet a quarter.
Wow, high roller, really.
I'm
Let's make this bet really exciting.
CS:GO betting has taught me
Here's
to
a
never bet.
straw.
I
It's
bet
not
like
even
I'm
a
betting
plastic straw. It's
CS:GO.
not even a plastic straw. It's like, hey.
Okay. I think we're almost at the end of our podcast, actually. Pretty fast. But Taylor, you wanted to talk about Massive Chalice. You've been playing that recently,
sir.
right?
Yeah.
And I guess it's a good time for all of us to go into what we've been playing and doing and whatnot.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll start, I guess. So I've been playing Massive Chalice, which is it's a turn-based strategy game set in like medieval times, made by Double Fine.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
It was a Kickstarter game. It was handled really, really well. That's beside the point. I didn't back it Kickstarter or anything, but they really involved the backers into it, which is cool.
That's good. Yeah, Double Fine's pretty good. Like they're pretty big crowdfunding guys.
Yeah, this is their second game. It was kind of weird for them going back like after this was funded before they even made Broken Age, Broken Age.
And they're
So
still
it's
not
like,
done with Broken
okay,
Age.
we
So.
know. Yes, they are. They
Oh, are
released
they? Oh, right. No, right. Yeah, you're right. Never
But
mind.
it
I
was
thought.
literally like, I know that you gave us a ton of money and we haven't actually given you anything yet, but how about you give us some more money? It was like a different team and stuff, but it's still kind of like weird.
Seemed
Like,
disingenuous. Yeah.
yeah, but I trusted him completely. And
Oh, for sure.
Brad
Yeah.
Muir is like the project lead in this, and he made Iron Brigade, formerly known as Trenched, which is a game I really like. So anyway, it's a turn-based strategy game, medieval times. It's kind of like XCOM, if I don't know if you guys.
The combat is the combat like XCOM.
It's kind of It's just like a basic starting off point to be derivative, but there's no cover in the game, and XCOM cover is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And the classes are really weird. There's an archer, which you usually think is like gonna stand back and just try and snipe people off.
Right.
But the archer in this game is like a scout. You have the ability to go invisible and like scout forward and find enemies.
That's pretty cool.
And it's more like environmental than XCOM game, where there's like explosive berries or whatever it's called in the game, where you shoot it and then it explodes and hurts people around it. And
so basically, red barrels.
But they're medieval barrels.
The medieval red barrels, yeah.
It's way different. They are red though.
It's not gasoline, it's pitch. That's what it is.
Oh, it's like a berry or something. It's just a bunch of different circles.
Oh.
It's not like a barrel.
It's
way different.
Wow.
Please,
okay.
It's an original idea. And I like this game. There's another enemy that's it's more environmental, where all he does is just run at you and he explodes, and then when he explodes he hurts you, and then he puts like a corrosive thing in the ground where if you're standing in it you continually get hurt. So it changes the battlefield in a way where, like, I can't end my turn over there anymore, so you have to try and play around that, so it's more dynamic in that way. And the crazy thing about this game is the meta game, which is in between the rounds of combat.
Yeah.
You go back and you have to you're breeding warriors with your other warriors. You have different keeps, and you put like this is the ruler and this is their regent.
So it is like XCOM.
You don't breed people in XCOM.
Well, I mean, but like character, like each player is really important, and you have to manage your soldiers basically.
They are important, except for like the characters themselves I haven't gotten really attached to, because it's hard to tell who the hell they are. In the middle of the game, unlike XCOM, you're like, that's the purple guy. I know who the purple guy is.
Okay.
In this one, they kind of look pretty similar, but the metagame is like, you have the ruler who, let's say they have the character trait pessimistic. It makes their predicted hit chance less than they actually are. So it says 70, it's probably actually like 85 or something.
That's pretty fun.
So they have like the Rogue Legacy type traits there.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, it was like Rogue Legacy.
Different parents that can pass on to their children. So you're trying to like get the two best people to match up to create best children, but when they're ruling their keeps, they can't fight in the battle for you at all. They're busy there making babies the entire time. So you're trying to balance, like, okay, my best people making more best people, but also I need to win these fights, so I can't just throw crappy people during the fights the entire time. And there's so many stats they throw at you, because each character has like 5 or 6 of these traits that do different things, and then there's a bunch of different like number stats, like, you know, the strength, blah 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 blah, and it's really hard to keep track of what's going on. And I played 2 hours in and basically lost, so I had to restart because I was like, okay, I have 5 keeps, I have so many people trying to make babies, but it's really slow pace of making babies. As it turns out, it's not like every 9 months, let's get at it.
Yeah.
So it was literally like, okay, we're gonna go to this mission to save this keep that's being taken over by the enemies, and it's like, okay, let's recruit people. I have 1 person available. Okay, here we go. And then at that point, I walked 3 feet and said, "Screw this," and then restarted the entire save. So,
that's a
like,
shame.
the in-game combat so far, I haven't gotten far enough where the enemies are super diverse or difficult, because I've only seen 3 or 4 enemy types at this point.
Right.
But I just don't know how to play the metagame at all.
Okay.
So I have to learn that, because that's something I haven't played at all before.
Okay.
That kind of metagame.
That's actually that's actually really interesting.
Yes, and it's technically early access until tomorrow. That's why I bought it.
So if you like XCOM, you would recommend this? Probably.
If you like, I wouldn't say XCOM specifically. I just did that as
Yeah.
a turn-based strategy game for people
Right.
to.
Well, yeah, I
It's
guess.
squad-based, also turn-based squad-based. But
Okay.
like, there's no shooting, there's no cover. The in-game and the meta-game are really different.
Oh, I
So
see.
it
Okay.
feels cheap comparing it to XCOM. It's just a
Yeah. It's just a natural. It's a natural
quick-
comparison people
quick
make.
point.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hmm.
Okay. Sounds fun. Sounds fun. Speaking of turn-based, actually, I have been playing a lot of Shadowrun. Unfortunately, I haven't gone far in the game
Is it
because
something new, or are you just
I'm just trying to. I can't, like, I really like the game and I really like the environments because the writing is really really good in the game, and it's really good at like basically immersing you in the story and the environment. But
in the weird world of Shadowrun?
Yeah.
The techno wizards,
yeah,
or whatever.
I'm a decker and a wizard. I'm mostly a decker with some magical capabilities.
What's
Yeah.
the decker?
Very interesting. The decker is like the
Hackerman.
hacker class, class.
Ah.
Except some decker. Oh wait, never mind. I was mixing with rigger, which I think is a subclass of decker. I think, which controls drones. But basically, each mission is really interesting because there's like there's kind of like a meta story, or I don't know. Well, I don't know. There's like, or there's more like, it's more like subplots. But it's really fun trying to reveal all the different subplots by talking to different people, and I've basically had to restart. I'm basically going to have to restart this mission I'm currently in because I missed one of the key like items that I needed to pick up to I'm very completionist when it comes to this game. As imagine a lot of gamers are. So like I'm trying to like find all the things I can, read all the things I can.
I always just try and like let the story happen how it happened. I don't ever.
Sometimes
go
I do that
back
too.
and
Yeah.
Rechange my story.
Yeah. So like I'll do. Yeah. I'll admit that sometimes
Except
I
when I have no
don't do
one
that.
to even fill a party and that I just give up.
Yeah. I think that's what also makes the game pretty stressful because like I'm trying to vicariously like live my cyberpunk fantasies through this game. So I'm like, what kind of decker would I be given the decisions I have to make? Because all the conversations and stuff,
gosh.
consequences, things like that. Clementine will remember this. Things like that. But yeah, it was. But I've actually been having a lot of fun because the combat is very XCOM-y, where there's cover and turn-based things like that. But it's shooting, yeah. It's really annoying because you'd have a shotgun point blank at somebody, and then you have like an 87% chance of hitting them, and then you miss, and you're like, "Where were you aiming at, bro?"
So it's that kind of RPG.
A lot of RNG. But sometimes it works out, and you're okay because you still have to. If you have a good strategy, it's not gonna, RNG
I'm
is
just gonna tell you
kill
that in a massive chalice, the melee characters can't miss. They just hit less damage sometimes. So it's not that kind of bullshit randomness is a kind of diminished.
I could actually make up for the missing melee shots because like imagine in a fight scene, you could dodge attacks if they're close to you. You could dodge as soon as someone throwing a punch at you.
These warriors were bred for this specific. Oh, he missed. Oh, okay. He was gonna wait now, and the other guy's gonna hit him.
Yeah.
Super boring.
Yeah. In the case of the combat I'm doing, like I'm fighting like basically like armed security, and they're pretty strong. So like I could forgive one of my teammates, missing her like
It's
melee
okay,
attack.
buddy.
Yeah.
Get him next time.
Basically. Other than that,
Pat on the shoulder.
I haven't been playing much. I'm trying to focus on Shadowrun as much as I can. I've been trying to go back into Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon because I still haven't finished it, especially with Kung Fury. That kind of reminded me to play it, but I still need to play it. I don't know. It's
You've
because
not played it at all.
well, no, I'm like the first like quarter of the game, but
That's like 20
it doesn't
minutes,
auto
it's
save
not super long.
the game.
DLC.
The game doesn't like save during your missions. So like I wanted to save during a mission, and so I exited, and then I started, and then like I had to redo like half the mission I was already going through.
But then you just stop playing.
And then that just doesn't really
Yeah.
sit well with me.
Yeah.
Max, have you been playing anything interesting? I think you've been playing a few different games, right?
Yeah, but I think we skipped something in our
Oh,
list actually.
yes.
AO
During
games on Steam.
yeah, one of the things that are like really one of the things about AO games is that it encompasses a lot of visual novels. Max, why don't you explain that?
All right. Okay. First, a visual novel is normally made by Japanese developers. A visual novel is basically what it's called, a visual novel. There's going to be pictures of characters, a background, and text. Sometimes the text will have voices, like you'll hear the characters talking, or if the budget is not high enough, you'll just see text for what the characters will be saying. And occasionally, you'll be able to make a choice, like pull the trigger, don't pull the trigger, or go into the shed with this mysterious girl, or don't go into the shed.
Right.
And so it's basically like a choose your own novel, choose your own story type of deal, but with usually less choices.
Okay.
And visual novels on Steam, up to now, they have all been censored one way or another. Sometimes they would remove the adult scenes, or they would censor the adult scenes so that you can't see the genitals. But an upcoming one, I I believe, what was it called again? Discourage Workers or something like that.
Yeah. That's it.
It
It was
will,
actually kickstarted. Indie. It was like an indie Kickstarter campaign. Believe it or not.
and this one's not even Japanese, but
Right. It's
it
made by a
will
Korean guy, I think.
apparently. So apparently this one will be uncensored.
Which is a first for
Oh.
Steam, right?
Yeah, I mean, like people, I mean, like a lot of companies will make unofficial patches so that you can remove the censorship, but this will be the first one that's released without the censorship. Yeah,
Interesting.
first for Steam.
Actually, I could see a lot more people getting into visual novels, not because of the adult only rating and stuff like that, but because
Story?
because there's been because kind of a lot of games have been leading up to this anyways, like Walking Dead, the Walking Dead video game, Life is Strange, I believe, and like Dear Esther are like basically video games, but like they're mostly rely on narrative and couple choices here and there.
That's not a visual novel. That's way different.
Oh, of course, but like the structure is similar, so
Those are way more video gamey than visual novels. You're actually doing stuff in it.
I don't know.
Visual novels
I played
feels like a more passive experience.
I played the first season of The Walking Dead, and I did not feel very engaged in terms of like
Are you kidding
games.
me?
I mean,
Visual
I
novel.
chose
Are
I
you?
chose dialogue options, and that was it. I don't know, man. There was some discovery here
Okay.
and there.
It's not like
All
you don't play that game that often. There's not a ton to do playing, but you say you're not engaged in it. I don't believe you.
No,
I
no.
don't believe you.
No. I was engaged in it, but like I meant in terms of like actually doing things. I wasn't like physically engaged
That
in
didn't
it.
bother me though. Did that bother you?
No. Like to be honest, that's the allure of visual novels. I imagine it's like you're not really playing for the game; you're playing for the story, right?
Pretty
I don't
much.
know, but
Also, to clarify, I'm not some kind of master or heavily knowledge person of visual novels. I only played one. That's Katawa Shoujo. That wasn't even made by in the Japanese company. That was made by 4chan.
How was that, by the
glad you
way?
played that.
Katawa Shoujo.
Yeah.
I mean, my experience was is going to be biased because I played it during my whole existential mortality crisis thing.
Sure.
That's fun.
I'm scared of going back to it
But was it
because
good though? Was it like?
out of any form of entertainment, it hit me the most emotionally.
No, it's pretty. Wow, that's pretty effective in terms of it's
Stars
hard.
of
Well, of
something
course,
made by 4chan.
it's going to
Yeah.
put some people off. Okay, well, like it's made by people on 4chan, but it's in no way directly connected because it doesn't feel like something you would expect from 4chan. But
Okay.
it's going to put people off for two reasons. One, um, no, actually three reasons. One,
Actually,
all the
12
characters.
reasons.
Okay, all right. Three reasons. One, all the characters are one way or another, including the one you play, one way or another, crippled physically. Two, sex scenes, and three, the name is apparently a derogatory term for crippled people in Japan. It literally means crippled girls, and That's a derogatory term.
That's wow. Okay.
But few weeks ago, the unofficial Japanese translated version did come out in Japan. So I don't know.
We'll see
I don't
how
know.
it fares in Japan, I guess.
Huh.
Is it dubbed at all or just completely text based? I imagine it's only text based
Com-
because it was like
Completely text based. I mean, it has decent enough music, but it is completely text
no
based.
voice acting, right?
No, I mean there are YouTube channels that dedicate to dubbing over the game, but no voices within the game.
Right. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that was I don't know. I want to say that like these types of video games will get more popular in mainstream audiences, but I'm not sure.
I disagree
I mean,
wholeheartedly.
What do you mean? Like,
a
well,
lot of them did come out in
Visual
the
novels
West
are pretty
recently, though.
niche, and I
yeah,
don't see
yeah.
how
They
they're
are.
gonna get more popular. I don't see what would be the impetus for that.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
Well, I mean, like I
a lot of
already
Western
mentioned.
developers, yeah, but
Go ahead, Max.
a lot of Western developers released official English versions over the past few months on Steam and such. So maybe
Doesn't mean it's popular.
No,
I
I'm
know,
sure
but
it
like
doesn't.
maybe they're obviously seeing some sort of market. I don't know.
I can see that. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, what were you playing? Like, so like back to what
Okay.
you were playing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what was I? What have I been playing? If I could only remember. Hold on. Let me just go into my Steam to see what I've been playing.
It's funny how you could
Shoot.
go into Steam and just like see what people are up to. It's like
Let's see.
it's like, oh, my friend just broke up with his girlfriend. I see
That's
80 hours logged
I'll play
of
that game.
of Skyrim in the past 2 weeks. You know.
Okay, so over the past 2 weeks, a little bit more of Mark of the Ninja on my second playthrough. A tiny bit of Painkiller, which is like one of those old school kill all the enemies type of shooter. Terra
Oh, like
Online, although
Hatred.
Except actually good.
I caught that, but in this case you're all like demons from hell, and you're
I know.
but yeah.
I'm just being an asshole.
No, I know. You are one.
How dare you?
I'm so offended right now.
You said it yourself. All right. Terra, although that might have been 3 or 4 weeks ago, so skip that. Warhammer 40k Space Marine. I don't know if the multiplayer is even alive anymore, but I've been playing the single player. A lot of fun chopping up orcs with a chainsaw sword or an axe, or shooting them with bolts. Well, no, with yeah, basically giant stake bullets.
I might have mentioned it. I might have mentioned it before, but I played it. I played the demo and it was pretty entertaining, from what little I played. Your thoughts on it? Pretty good.
Me? Yeah, I would say so. Maybe it's because I'm biased. The lore of 40k has always grabbed me, and I've been reading up a lot of it online because actually playing the tabletop would be way too expensive. So
Yeah.
Space Marine would be my first entry into actually playing something from the franchise.
Yeah, that's why I play
And
Shadowrun as a video game and not like play the tabletop RPG. Apparently, it's very
oh yeah,
complex.
it started as a tabletop, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shadowrun is a tabletop. I really want to play it, but it's
Right.
very complex.
And finally, I've been playing what was it called? Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, which Cold Biscuit summarized as imagine the Scott Pilgrim game if it was made in Japan.
Have any of you guys played the Scott Pilgrim game? Because I haven't, because it's a console
It's
title.
just a beat 'em up.
Okay.
There's not
Yeah,
much to
this
it.
game is also a beat 'em up brawler, although it has like combos and counters a lot like a fighting game because apparently this company used to make fighting games. So yeah, although all the characters you play as are anime girls, so
Hooray!
Hooray.
take that as you will. Yeah. You could play as a high school ninja or a maid with a giant sword or this or that.
Okay, when you describe it like that, I'm more into it. Than you just say anime girls. You just say high school ninja. I'm like, thumbs up. I'm in. Let's do this.
Or DLC of an actual anime character, which is
jeez.
same price as the game.
Is it the really popular
on
one?
sale.
Is it the really popular one?
What?
Is it the one
It's
that
a
like?
character from Steins Gate.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that game in general, or anything else you've been doing?
Anything else I've been doing? Like continually making those Dead Space videos.
Oh right. We have to link that at some point.
Promotion on this podcast, sir. God.
What?
No self-promotion.
Right.
I can't understand you. My brain's full of nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you guys
I got
want?
nothing more to say.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Cool things that are popping up on your radar, things we've been working on, stuff like that.
Cool things that have been popping up on our radar. Like in our personal lives, or just
Just
stuff we've seen?
anything really.
Something.
I mean, I would like to talk about Mad Max, but we'll wait until you've seen it, Max. I guess.
I would really like to see it sometime soon. Stuff that popped up. I believe we talked about this in a previous podcast in our Konami stuff, which has been like the last 3 recordings.
Oh, right.
Bloodstained, the spiritual successor to the 2D Castlevania games, has reached $3 million on Kickstarter and still has 11 days left. The $3 million goal was the Wii U port, but they're going to hand that off to a different company for downgrading the game to work on the Wii U. They're not going to work on it themselves. $250,000 more dollars. It will have online multiplayer, and $500,000 more dollars. They'll get a PlayStation Vita port, which would probably be a waste of money.
Oh, PSP. Oh, right. Yeah. Apparently, it's a pretty good system, but like.
Japan, it's decent, but there's nothing on it, or nothing ever going to come out for it. So
Not at least not the U.S.
The 3DS is far more successful internationally and in Japan.
And in Japan? Oh well.
Like Monster Hunter didn't come out on Vita, as far as I know, but like 3 of them already came out on the 3DS. And that means something.
That determines the winner.
Yeah. For mobile games, like hardware doesn't
Call of
matter.
Duty of Japan.
Hardware doesn't really matter for like mobile things, as long as it runs like stuff like.
As long as you can play it on a train.
Yeah,
which is
basically.
what you do in Japan.
Yeah.
That's basically it. All right. If we have nothing else, I think it's time we close out. We're hitting about that 1 hour mark, anyways. So thank you for listening. On behalf of Taylor, Max, and myself, we'll see you next time. Additionally, this week's intro and outro is provided by Averin. You can check him out at soundcloud.com/Averin.
How do you spell that?
Avaren. This track is called Precipice.
How do you spell?
I'm not gonna bother. I'll link it in the video description, in the show notes.
Look below the description.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time.
Nothing here. Look at my desk. There's like.
It's a little late.
I don't know.